Toks podcast, a space where I give you whole life perspective on business, relationships, and personal development. Happy Wednesday, happy hump day. I hope you're having an amazing week so far. Happy new month. And this week, I want to talk to you about wise counsel. And I'll start off by asking you a question, which is, who are your VIPs? Your very important people, the people in your life who you hold in high regard, the important people who can't be replaced, the ones who can talk you off the edge of cliffs, or also encourage you to jump off and fly when necessary. Who are the ones who inspire you and motivate you? You could pause it right here and think it through, or you could do it a little later. But this is a very, very important question to ask yourself, and then also get to the bottom of finding the answer for. Because you should have a few of these people in every single part of your life. It would be lovely, and sometimes your VIPs overlap and transcend into different parts of your life, but sometimes they don't. So for mental health, have some VIPs. For business, have some VIPs. For relationships, have some VIPs. You need them. I have yet to come across a part or a corner of my life where I'd say requires nobody but me, myself, and I. I could be wrong. Maybe I haven't gotten there yet, but I truly cannot find that place. And wise counsel is such a major part of your growth, clarity, and speed. Growth in how far you get, clarity in the path in which you take to get there, and speed in the speed that it takes you to get there. And I'm not saying that you can't go it alone, right? Absolutely you can. Many people do, although I'm not a believer in being an island. But what I can say is that going it with people will get you much further faster, right? For those same reasons of growth, because they've been there before, clarity because they've seen it before, and then speed because two of you killing it at the same time, or one person handling it on this side and another person handling it on the other side, will allow you to kill two birds with one stone, if that's the right analogy, but just get there further, And you need to get around people who have been to where you want to be or are heading towards where you want to go. This is such an important thing. You can't say you want to have a certain type of success, yet not have any idea or inkling to what it would look like because nobody around you has done it. Not saying you can't be a unicorn. Of course, we know that there are people who make it against all odds, but statistically speaking, it's easier to make it when you have an example or when you have a blueprint to what you want to do. And those insiders, the people who you get around, who will help you, one of the ways that they help you is that they allow you to avoid unnecessary waste of time by taking longer than you need to because of certain mistakes that you didn't know were mistakes. So you had to make them, then course correct and continue on the path. Unnecessary waste of effort by putting your energy into the wrong things because you don't even know what the right things are, because you don't even know what you're doing, because you're going it alone. And then also energy, right? Like when you're going in the wrong direction with full throttle, that energy redirected and concentrated into the most important space, perspective, location will yield you so much more than taking that energy and going in no direction. It's like trying to get somewhere and thinking that running is all that matters, but running on a treadmill where you're running but you're not really going anywhere, compared to running on hard ground that will actually take you to a destination, right? If we're trying to get somewhere, that's not the time to be on a treadmill, because yes, you'll be running, but you're kind of running nowhere. That's the time to be on the ground with GPS, knowing exactly how to get to where you want to get to, right? And you need visuals. Visuals can come in many different ways, right? Like it's seeing somebody do something. So it could be watching from a distance or talking to somebody or even being mentored by somebody and being brought along as they do that thing, right? You need access to perspective. Sometimes we convince ourselves so strongly that what we're doing is the only and the best way. And part of the reason for that is self-preservation, right? Like, who would want to how could we actually believe in ourselves if we don't even think that what we're doing is correct? So we get to this place where we get laser focused, and sometimes we need somebody who's looking from the outside, who's done it and who comes with a certain level of wisdom to be like, hey, shout out to you and everything you're trying to do, but let me tell you how that might not be the best way to go about it and why this might be a better way. And this is why I call them your wise counsel and your VIPs, right? Because it's very important to have a level of trust when we're having these types of situations and these types of conversations, because I'm not going to let somebody who I don't trust tell me that I'm going the wrong way, because why, right? So when you want perspective, you need to get aligned with the people, as I said, who are going to where you want to go to, headed towards there, or who have already been there. If you want to fly, why would you be around people who don't have wings? It doesn't make any sense whatsoever, right? Because if you're trying to fly and the people around you do not have wings, they're going to convince you as to why the ground is the place to be, because they have no other perspective. Why would they covet something that they don't have and they don't want, and get to a place of believing that that's better than their current situation? Very few people do that, right? And along the same less abstract example, if you want to be married, why would you only be around and seek advice from people who don't believe in monogamy? It's illogical. How could they provide you with the necessary perspective, necessary clarity, necessary insight to get you to where you want to be when they don't even believe that's a worthy destination? If you want to be successful, why would you only be around people who are afraid of stepping outside of the box? They will convince you into mediocrity before you even realize that you're confused and lost. And finally, because I could sit here and give you examples all day, but that's not what we're here for. If you want to be financially abundant, why would you only be around people who think that money above what keeps them afloat makes you evil, right? Like, people who say money is the root of all evil. As I've said many times, it's the love of money, the worship of money, that is the root of all evil. Money is a tool that can be used in many different ways. So if you want financial abundance and everyone around you is convinced that that makes people evil, how on earth will you get there? And the thing is that, yes, you can be a unicorn. I'm going to say it one more time. Yes, you can be an anomaly, but let's be realistic with ourselves, English. When you are in a situation, things tend to average out. So if you are high above in your mentality of a certain thing and everyone around you is below, chances are you'll be brought down just by the law of averages, right? If 20 people are at 1 and one person's at 10, and then we take 21 and divide it by 30, what are we going to get, right? It's going to be a way lower number than 10. So it's better to get yourself around higher vibrations, higher energy in the direction that you want to go, to get you to where you need to be. And that's why it's so important for you to figure out who your wise counsel is in every part of your life, who your VIPs are, and not just figure it out, but then actually utilize and maximize them for their skills. If I have a friend in my life who I know spiritually is that person who I can go to, but I'm going to them for financial advice, even though I know that they don't save their money, would that be wisdom? Absolutely not, right? And that doesn't make them any less of a person. Everybody has their skills and their strong suits, just like you as you're listening to this, just as I do that I'm telling you about this. So it becomes our responsibility to determine where people lie in our lives and how best we can all be of use to one another and maximize that. So we're not wasting time, we're not wasting effort, we're not wasting energy, right? So you need to reassess your circle and intentionally begin to align yourself with people on the path that you want to be on. This sounds a little tough. This sounds a little rough, but if you're here for your goals and what you think is important to you, this becomes part of your responsibility of stewarding your purpose well. You've been given a gift. All of us have one. If you haven't discovered it yet, it's coming, trust me. Or maybe it's already there and you just don't see the value in it because it's come so easy to you. But that gift you have been blessed with that gift. And part of the blessing or part of the responsibility of that blessing is for you to steward it well. And stewarding it well means providing all the nutrients required for it to reach its full potential in you, because if it wasn't meant to reach a potential, you wouldn't have been gifted it in the first place, right? So reassess your circle and intentionally align yourself with people on the path that you want to be on. And this can be done personally or at a distance, as I had said earlier. Do you got to read some books? Read those books, friend. Do you got to listen to podcasts like this? Listen to those podcasts. I have so many virtual mentors. I believe I have way more virtual mentors than I do touchable mentors. Mentors who I watch their lives. I see what they do. I pay attention. I listen to their speeches to get an understanding of their journey, their path. And then from that, I take what I believe is necessary to me and I apply it in ways that are beneficial. And of course, having touchable mentors, having touchable VIPs, the people in your life who have that perspective is also very important. So gather it in every single way you can, because you're only as great as the people around you. And in this life, there's only so much we can learn. There's only so much time we have. So it's actually important and necessary for you to surround yourself with the right people to make sure that all those places where you have gaps, they fill in those gaps. Like think about anyone, think about like presidents and people of that nature. Everybody has wise counsel around them, advising them, directing them, giving them perspectives, because we don't know it all. And the more information we have available to us when we make our decisions or when we go on whatever path we decide to go on, the better we'll be, because we've seen it from so many angles. Even if the advice that you receive is not advice that you want to take personally, having that perspective can be the difference between you getting lost in the sauce and caught up in something unnecessary, or you being able to notice it and say, I've already thought this over because I've discussed it with someone and I already know it's not for me. So I'm not even going to dabble in it, or I'm not even going to waste my time. And I think it's important for me to say, I'm not saying to lock off your friends and family who are not your wise counsel, right? Even in the club, there's the VIP section and there's the general admission, right? So understanding that there's still room for everybody, but certain people are held to a higher standard in your life because their purpose in your life gives you a little slight edge over other people. So I'm just saying maximize relevant influences and take a moment to answer the questions that I asked in the beginning and fill out the gaps. I'll put the questions in the show notes just one more time. Who are your VIPs, the most important people in your life? The ones who can talk you off the edges of cliffs and also tell you when to jump off and find your wings, the ones who inspire and motivate you. So friend, if it's important, you'll get it done. When something is worthy to you, you'll know by the effort you're willing to put in. You won't need to be asked. You won't need to be told. You'll make it happen, even when it's uneasy, even when it's awkward, because the destination will dwarf all hesitation, or at the least, propel you to do it, even though your legs are shaking. Thank you so much for listening. Have an amazing week. I'll talk to you next Wednesday. Bye.